In the very first panel, we can see that in the 2018 World Cup, Japan has lost in the best of 16. We see Japanese entrepreneurs sitting around a table as we get introduced to a waifu named Henri Thierry. She says that once again, the Japanese representative team has keenly felt the wall, which is the rest of the world. She believes that they must take this to heart and devise a plan to come back even stronger for the next World Cup. So she asks the chairman about his opinion on this matter. His name is Hirotoshi Buratsuta, as he seems disinterested, telling Henri that they're making money anyway, so who cares? In the end, football is just a business after all. Why don't we just get ourselves one of those foreigner coaches to give the team that spark amidst all those Japanese players? And if the team ends up getting on a losing streak, they'll just fire him and blame everything on him. So as long as they maintain the national team's brand, we'll be fine reaping the profits generated by it. This really is as far as Buratsuta's ambitions go, it seems. He doesn't look further than money. He tells Henri what they'd do if her so-called reform affects their bottom line. They should value our current situation more. It's that simple. They're making a laughingstock out of Henri now, which is quite a sad sight, to say the least. Henri tells them that the Japanese national teams have been at a standstill for the past 25 years. So as a country that has represented in every World Cup tournament, it shouldn't be that difficult to maintain a higher standard, which she is right about. So she tells them that if the situation were to remain the same, they will never win the World Cup. The entrepreneurs look shocked as Buratsuta makes a laughingstock out of her again, telling her if she really thinks that they would be able to bring home the Japanese World Cup trophy. Henri does believe in it indeed, as she calls Buratsuta a greedy fox. It's her biggest dream to see Japan winning the World Cup. Hopefully, it's bigger than her breast size. She tells them that the Japanese passing play style will carry them to the world stage. They will win if they keep doing their brand of football. They keep saying these things, but that sentiment won't advance us past the round of 16 at all. So Buratsuta asks Henri if she has a plan to change this around. Henri responds by telling them that it's up to them to create the ultimate player that can lead the Japanese national team to its first World Cup. As she smacks the whiteboard, she tells the people there to look at it, and that the person on it will be the coach to break down the foundations of the current national team. His name is none other than Jinpachi Ego. We now cut to the national high school football qualifiers, where we see that team Ichinan is losing against Matsukaze Kokuo. It's the Saitama Prefecture Finals as we see an overview of the entire field. His teammates on the bench are screaming a familiar name as they say that this possession is his last chance. This is the first time we get introduced to our main character called Isagiyoichi, as he's trying to shake off the mark of two Matsukaze players. If Isagi's Ichinan were to win, they're going to the Nationals. He's doing some scissors now as the opponent has no clue which way he's going to go. He's dashing to his right side as he runs past. He's one-on-one with the goalkeeper now, so he has got to shoot now. You can really see just how eager he is to go to the Nationals. In the next panel, one of his teammates is asking Isagi to pass the ball as he is wide open. He tells Isagi that he will score the goal. His name is Tama. Isagi thinks to himself that if he were to pass, they'll probably score that one goal, since he is way more open than Isagi in this position. Ichinan's manager doesn't get Isagi, telling him that if he shoots the ball, it will be the end. One for all and all for one, he says. This low-key reminds me of My Hero Academia, not gonna lie. That's right, says Isagi. Football is a sport played with 11 people as he passes the ball towards Tama. Tama receives the ball, and Isagi is convinced that the game will become a tie now. So Tama shoots the ball, but he's hit the post as the ball bounces out of the field. Isagi looks very frustrated as that very nice change of theirs has gone into dust. So one of Matsukaze defenders passes the ball up the field. It's going towards the ace of Matsukaze as he traps the ball. His name is Kira Ryosuke. He barges on ahead with the ball now as he passes some Ichinan players, and he shoots the ball into the net. Ichinan has lost 0-2. The Matsukaze players celebrate now, which is to be expected. Today's match ends in a 2-goal victory for Matsukaze Kokuo. Tama is apologizing to the players now about that miss of his. But one of his teammates tells him that it isn't his fault while it clearly is, or rather it's Isagi's fault for entrusting that shot to him. Kira is getting interviewed now as the interviewer says that going to the Nationals must be just a stepping stone for him. But she's still curious about what his feelings about being invited to join the national team are. He tells her that right now, he's focused on winning the Nationals with this team. And he tells her that the only reason he is here is because of everyone on his team as the girls along the sidelines simp on his words. The manager of Ichinan tells them to gather up now as he says that they've fought well and that it's frustrating, but this is the extent of their current abilities. The third years are leaving after this, as well as they graduate from high school, and some of them might quit football altogether after today's events. But he tells them to be proud of all the time they've spent fighting together. He's confident that there will be a day to come in all of their lives when they will be able to think that this loss wasn't for nothing. Everyone seems to be crying except for Isagiyoichi, that is, as the manager continues with saying that there's nothing meaningless in life, and that to him, Ichinan's football team is the best team in Japan. But Isagi disregards that fact, as everyone deep down should know that that isn't the case. After all, they're just a team that couldn't take that last step towards the Nationals. He walks home with his bike now, with the evening sun shining as bright as ever as he's walking with his bike. He's a no-name second-year forward on that team, he says. That's the reality. He's sorry to Noel Noah, as he tells himself that it seems like he won't be able to become a superstar player like him. And for those who are wondering, Noel Noah is the best striker in the world as of now. He's a 31-year-old French forward that is edging closer to retirement age. We now see a very young Isagi staring at the television screen because he was obsessed with Noel Noah's plays, and he has looked up to him as well. He always keeps playing soccer as he sees the young Isagi play football with his fellow classmates and teammates. We now see the manager again as he says that Ichinan High is a team that aims for the Nationals together. Don't think football is a sport where you can win on your own, he adds. It's one for all and all for one. Now it really looks like his dream will end as a dream, representing Japan and becoming an ace striker, his seemingly stupid dream to win the World Cup. But at this rate, he won't even become Go professional as he's remembering what Kira has said to the interviewer. Isagi guesses that only guys like him get to go pro after all. They're both second years, but the difference in their abilities is similar to the difference between Goku and Krillin from Dragon Ball. There's only 1 year left until Isagi graduates. Even if he works hard, he might still end up needing to give up on his dream. If only he had taken the shot instead of passing to his teammate. Could he have scored a goal? Could he have changed his destiny forever? But he quickly tells himself that what-ifs are pointless in the world of football. Their teamwork lost, and there's no helping that. The three kids who were playing on the road stopped as they found it weird that Isagi was talking to himself. Isagi continues with saying that football is a sport that's played by 11 people, and that he can't win on his own. It's all for one. His spirit completely shatters as he's screaming very loudly, scaring those poor little kids away. He really wanted to win that match. I'll use this moment to quickly ask you guys that if you are liking my content so far and wish to support me, subscribe to the channel. Now back to the video. Isagi walks up the stairs now as he comes back home to his parents' house. His mother greets him and welcomes him home while asking him about the match. Isagi told her that he has lost and that he's hungry as well. His mother says that it's a bad as he even made him pork cutlets. Isagi tells her that he is supposed to eat that the day before the match and not right after. Isagi's dad tells him that they're really good, though. He tells Isagi that neither of them has any interest in football, and he apologizes about that. His mother tells Isagi that there's a certain letter for him from the Japanese Football Union. Isagi looks surprised as he briefly glances over the paper. The letter says that he's been selected for a special player training program called Blue Lock. His mom thinks that it's a good thing as Isagi doesn't really understand why they would possibly summon him. He has absolutely no idea why he is chosen. The meeting place doesn't have any details at all as he questions if this is the place they are supposed to meet, as he hopes that this isn't one of Tada's grand pranks, but he's still happy that someone has actually noticed him. Out of nowhere, Kira suddenly appeared onto the scene as he notices that Isagi is from the Ichinan team as they both got called here. He thanks him for that match from the other day as he asks Isagi if he knows him. Isagi responds, saying that of course he would know him because he has literally just lost to him. He doesn't really understand why Kira knows who he is. Kira totally remembers him and tells him that he's got awesome football sense. So his ability was pretty noticeable even before joining Blue Lock, huh? He tells Isagi that he doesn't know if he has a high-level view of the game or just a high football IQ, but during their game he was thinking that he could have him some crazy good passes if they were to be on the same team. Isagi is thanking him. Kira looks like such a nice guy. Kira asks Isagi to get going as they have no idea why they wanted them to gather here. Isagi doesn't really believe that he's having a casual conversation with Kira Ryosuke, the young hope of Japanese football. Kira tells Isagi that he doesn't need to talk so formally since they're the same age as he wants them to get along. I guess there are talented people who are nice to thinks Isagi as Kira opens the door now. If Kira is praising him, he must be pretty amazing, he thinks to himself. He suddenly sees a bunch of people gathered in one place. It's so crowded, says Kira, as he tells Isagi that he has seen some of them before, like Senu's ace Okawa, or Ishikara, the tallest high schooler. And Nishioka, who is called the Messi of Aomori, is here as well. Through his Isagi notices that these guys are all forwards. We see Ego Jinpachi as full flesh now, as he congratulates the unpolished lumps of talent for making it here. According to his personal judgment, the 300 of them are the best strikers under 18 years of age. He introduces himself as he tells them that his name is Jinpachi Ego, and that he was hired to give Japan a World Cup victory. The strikers are getting uneasy now as Kira wonders just who he is, and therefore asks Isagi if he knows about him. Ego Jinpachi continues with saying that the only thing that is necessary for Japanese football to become the best in the world. In the birth of a revolutionary striker, with 300 of them here, he will conduct an experiment to create the world's best striker. He tells them that this facility is created for that purpose. It's called Blue Lock. Starting today, they'll all be living here together while undergoing the special training that he has devised. He tells them that they won't be able to return to their homes as well, and that this marks the end of their previous football careers. But he promises that whoever survives this thing called Blue Lock and outperforms the other 299 players will become the world's best striker, as he concludes his explanation. The strikers are shivering from that speech as Isagi doesn't get what he's all about. He doesn't really understand it at all. Kira tells Ego that he won't be able to consent to his explanation, as each of them has their own precious teams and some of them are preparing for the nationals as well, running off to someplace that makes no sense. He just can't abandon his team to participate in such a thing. The others agree with him as some of them say that they have nationals too, and they also don't get why they should be living together. They don't know just who he is as well. Isagi agrees with the fact that this is very out of the blue. Talking about a World Cup victory or the best in the world, he doesn't really get it. Ego Jinpachi thinks that they're all sick as a result, so he tells them to piss off and that if they'd want to leave, he won't stop them. He doesn't get that their teams are more precious than the thought of becoming the world's best. They'd rather be the best high schooler in their county's football instead. He gets depressed when he thinks about the fact that people like them have to carry the future of Japanese football. He tells them Japanese football's teamwork capability is the best in the world, and that it's a gift of their country's ability to consider others, which is basically empathy. But besides that, everything else is second-rate, so he asks them, just what is football? Is it a sport in which 11 people combine our power? Is it to treasure our bonds? Or is it for my friend's sake? Wrong, and that's why this country's game has always been weak. He explains that football is a sport in which you score more points than your opponent, which in plain sight makes a lot of sense, right? However, whoever scores the most points is the best. So if you want to play at getting along, then piss off. Isagi doesn't get what his deal is and calls him crazy, as most people would, I'd imagine. Kira disagrees with him and asks him to take that back. Players like Honda or Kagawa, and there are plenty of others as well. Watching 11 people battle together, they grew up watching their Japanese teams cooperate. They're his heroes as he tells Ego that he's wrong. But Ego Jinpachi calls them trash because they haven't won the World Cup. He's talking about being the best in the world. Take Noel Noah, for example. He beat out Messi and Ronaldo to take the Ballon d'Or. Do you know what the best striker in the world said? Instead of assisting my teammates to win 1-0, it feels better to pull off a hat trick and lose 3-4 instead. Eric Cantona, the greatest football player of the 20th century, said that he doesn't care about his team and that he just wants to stand out. And the greatest player of all time, who won no less than 3 World Cups, called Pelé, said that he is the world's best forward, midfielder, defensive player, and goalkeeper. How awful, right? But these guys are number one. They were all revolutionary strikers. All of them are peerless egoists, which is exactly what Japanese football lacks. He tells them that if they're not the world's top egoist, they can never become the world's best striker. Isagi doesn't believe it. Ego continues with saying that he wants to create someone like that in this country. Nobody has ever talked like that before to Isagi. The lone hero who will stand atop 299 corpses, Isagi gets kind of scared as he has no real achievements to speak of and that he's just a nameless striker. So Ego Jinpachi asks them one final question. Imagine that you're at the last match of the World Cup, which has got 80,000 spectators, and you're on that field. The score is 0-0 as the game has gone into overtime. It's the last play as they've broken through and received a pass from their teammate. It's a one-on-one showdown with the goalkeeper. And there is a teammate 20 feet to your right. If you pass, you can almost certainly get a point. But instead, you gamble your nation's hopes and the assurance of victory. To shoot without hesitation, only those sorts of crazy egoists may proceed ahead as the door to the actual entry of the Blue Lock facility opens up. He'll say this once more. Football is a sport that exists for strikers. Think of everyone besides yourself on the field as supporting actors. Discard your common sense because on the field, you're the leading actor. Isagi really doesn't get why nobody has ever told him this. Rejoice in your own goals over all else and live for nothing but that moment. That's what it means to be a striker. Isagi is the first one to respond to Ego's message as he convinces himself that he is a striker, and he rushes up ahead, which has gotten the other strikers pumped up as well. Somebody once said, in the world of football, first-class goalies, defenders, and midfielders can be raised, but strikers are something entirely different. First-class strikers will suddenly appear in the place where the game is the hottest. All 300 players will be participating. Henri tells Ego that there's no going back now and that she'll act in accordance with what he says. She's trusting him with the future of Japanese football and the 300 boys. Ego tells her that it might mean ruining 299 lives, but at least there will be the birth of one great striker. That's what Blue Lock is all about after all. So he asks Henri if they should get started, the place where the game is the hottest in the whole world. If you resonate with my content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm out. Peace.